What is up, everyone? How are you? I'm here to give you an update on the upcoming month and a half or so of workouts. So today is Thursday, August 28th. This coming week, Monday, we're closed because it's Labor Day, so that puts us on a short week. Now, coincidentally, this week we're in is week 6 of 6 of our current cycle, which works well. So next week, instead of starting a new cycle and missing a Monday and then either having to cram a bunch of stuff in Tuesday, next week is just going to be a bridge week or essentially a in-between week. We're still going to lift weights. We're still going to do conditioning. It's still going to be a good week of workouts. Those workouts just aren't going to be tied to any ongoing weekly progression. So whatever you see next week, don't think that we're doing it again the following week. Next week's just kind of a bridge or filler week. Not to be confused with deload. It's not meant to be light or easy. Now, if you ever want to take it super easy or go light, that's fine. So the next 6-week cycle, we're going to be changing things a bit. So just for your information, over the course of the summer, we've been focused a little bit more on the strength and bodybuilding aspect, less on the high intensity CrossFit conditioning, and then even some of like the more fun CrossFit movements. Now those have still been in and they will always be in. We've just been doing a lot more of the bodybuilding. So very structured sets and reps. Now, when we switch gears, we never switch like completely. We're not about to go like full blown CrossFit and just ditch ever doing a bicep curl or a dumbbell fly. Like that's not the case. We're just kind of shifting the emphasis a little bit. So September 8th, not this coming week, but the following week, September 8th will be week 1 of our next 6-week cycle. Now through September, there are no benchmarks to interfere with anything. In October, we will resume our next phase of benchmarks. So the cycle will go from September 8th through the middle of October, October 17th. So that'll be our 6 weeks. So a couple of the changes we're going to see. We're going to try to put in a little bit more conditioning, like CrossFit type stuff. And that doesn't necessarily mean like game days. We're still just going to do game day once a week, but adding in a little bit more of the fun skill work, some CrossFit movements, like toes to bar and double unders, burpees, power cleans, push jerks, things like that. And some of those strength movements in more conditioning work, because we haven't seen a lot of that where it's like clean and jerks or snatches in conditioning work. So we're going to try to mix some of that in. All right, so let's get into kind of what this looks like. On Mondays, the focus is going to be back squat. And also, here's another change we're going to have for these next 6 weeks is instead of alternating the main lift every week, so like back squat, front squat, back squat, front squat, or flat bench, incline bench, back and forth, we're just going to keep the same for 6 weeks. Now, there's a pro and a con. The pro is you get twice as many opportunities to practice and get strong at that lift. The con is by the end of 6 weeks, it could be a little bit boring. It's like, oh, we're doing the same lift again. But that's okay because in 6 weeks, it changes. So on Mondays, we're going to have back squats. Now, we will change sets, rep, tempo, things like that, but it's going to be back squat. The accessory work, we're going to work on our hamstrings and do some core work. Now, I'm not stating specifically what the movements are for any of the accessory pieces because those can change week by week. The focus is that we keep the movement pattern and more so the muscle groups that we're working the same. So hamstrings, ton of different stuff we can do. Core work, ton of different stuff. So that is Monday. On Tuesday, our main lift is going to be the dumbbell bench press. We've done a ton of barbell bench press this year. We're going to switch it up to dumbbell bench press. Now, because we don't have extremely heavy loading, you're not going to see things of like 2 to 5 reps like we do with the barbell. You're going to see higher reps and then also maybe playing with some tempos and then rest breaks and things a little bit. For the accessory, we're going to continue with upper body pushing. We're going to put in some barbell work, so mixing in some strict press, push press, things of that nature, and then other shoulder related work. Now, notice I just went over Monday and Tuesday and I didn't state what the conditioning is because we like to alternate which day we do conditioning work. So I don't want to say Mondays we're doing conditioning because that might not be the case. We might do conditioning one Monday and not Tuesday. And then the next week it might flip. So that's why what I'm saying, and I'm reading this off SugarWOD, you guys can see this as well. We're not labeling which days we're doing conditioning. On Wednesdays, couple things here as to why we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to have more of a running emphasis. Now, I understand that if you come to the gym and it's just a purely running workout, especially if it's long running, it's really boring. Not gonna lie, it's boring for the coach, and it's like, I could do this at home. I don't want to waste one of my classes to go to the gym and do this. So we're going to keep away from trying to do too much like really long, slow, boring running. It's going to be more intervals, and we will still mix in the machines and then other movements like some easy body weight stuff, lunges, step ups, or maybe even a few things with some equipment, farmer's carries, Russian swings, things like that. But we're going to have more of a running emphasis. So if you have a watch with a timer or a stopwatch, that might help. Recording your scores is going to help. Knowing how fast you run at different efforts, that stuff's going to help as you learn over the weeks. Now, why are we doing this? Well, twofold. One is that we didn't do a ton of running over June, July, August because it was just so hot outside. And then along with that, we've only got about 2 more months, September, October, and then sometime in November until the time changes. And then it's dark at the 6 o'clock class. And then shortly after, it's dark at the 5 o'clock class. So I want to maximize classes being able to go outside and run while it's still light through all of the classes. So getting more running in because of the schedule. And then also, since we've spent more time biking and rowing, and we have a bunch of people in the gym signed up to do the DECA competition in October, which I think is like 7 weeks away. So if we spend our next 6 weeks running, it's just also going to help those people out. And then it's never going to hurt anybody's fitness to get better at running. So running on Wednesdays. Now, moving on to Thursday. I've liked the rear foot elevated split squat. We've been doing it with a single dumbbell, ipsilateral. I know a lot of you guys had fun with that word. So we're going to keep that going kind of, but we're going to mix it up. So where we're going to be doing 2 dumbbells. We might even attempt some maybe with the barbell. I know that gets a little bit tricky, but that's going to be the main lift on Thursdays, the rear foot elevated split squat. Accessory, which is still going to look like a main lift kinda, but we're going to compound these things. We're going to have some barbell deadlifts this week, or this upcoming cycle, I think, starts with some sets of 10. Let's see, I can see it. Yeah, so sets of 10 on the just regular deadlift. And then we're pairing that with some overhead pressing. So the Bradford press, but that might also be some barbell strict press, so on and so forth. And then again, always mixing and conditioning some weeks, but then other weeks not. All right, lastly, Friday. And I'm saying lastly because Saturdays just kind of stay the same. Saturdays are fun, CrossFit, partner or team style workout. So not going to go into any extra detail on that. But Fridays are the day I think a lot of people are going to be excited for. I'm going to call them fun Fridays, at least for this cycle, because we're going to kind of go off script and off structure. We're going to be doing a barbell complex every Friday. So some type of like clean plus front squat plus jerk or multiple cleans or whatever, just mixing it up. There's endless ways. I spent over a decade doing this stuff consistently, and it's a lot of fun to mix up, and it's usually like build to a heavy set. So just this first one coming up, and you guys can already see it if you go to September 12th. 4 sets, build to a heavy set, 1 power clean, 2 front squats, 1 power clean. Hold on to the bar the whole time. That'll be pretty cool. Then also on Fridays, keeping with the Fun Friday theme, we're going to have a piece where we do skill practice. So that might be skill practice on pull-ups or muscle-ups or double unders or wall walks, or we might even have some for the fitness, some for the RX, but something where we can practice some of those fun skills that a lot of people want to work on. And then we're going to keep with game days on Friday. So you just know that for 6 weeks, game day is going to be Friday, and we're just going to go like classic CrossFit with most of it. That doesn't mean there might not be some intervals or some multiple scores or something. But this upcoming one, I'm not even going to say what it is. I want you guys to go look at it, and then you can comment about it if you'd like. Friday the 12th, we got a game day that I've come up with that is going to be quite challenging. That's going to cap off the end of the week. So guys, that's your whole week of what it's going to look like starting September 8th through October 17th. Hope you're excited. I hope you enjoyed watching this, getting an understanding of what's going on. Apologies it took that long, but that's just how it is. All right, guys, thanks so much.